Hi, everyone. Today, we're going to dive into an article that changed how people see American history, Helen Hunt Jackson's A Century of Dishonor, published in 1881. If you look at slide 1, you'll see a drawing of Jackson holding her article with the Native American tribe's traditional land in the background. That's our theme today, uncovering the injustice Native Americans faced and how one writer fought to tell their story. First, let's get to know the author. Turn to slide 2. Helen Hunt Jackson wasn't always an advocate for Native rights. She was a regular 19th century writer until she learned about the pain Native tribes were going through. Her big goal with A Century of Dishonor, this article, she wanted to redeem the U.S. from the stain of a century of dishonor. Think about that. She called America's treatment of natives a stain. That's a strong word, right? It tells us she thought this wasn't just a mistake, but something the country needed to fix. Now, what exactly did she write about in this article? Slide 3 breaks down the article's big idea. Jackson exposed over 100 years of unfair treatment of Native Americans by the U.S. government and white settlers. Let's look at the 3 key wrongs she highlights. First, broken Treaty C, that torn paper icon. The government promised natives land, then broke those promises when white settlers wanted the land instead. Second, violence during the California gold rush. Settlers hurt or killed natives to get gold. And third, ignored rights natives had no legal protection. Imagine if someone could take your home or hurt you and there was nothing you could do about it. That's what natives faced. But why did this happen? Slide 4 has the answers. First, public fear. Back then, lots of white people grew up hearing old frontier tales that said natives were dangerous. Those stories weren't true, but they made people scared. And fear leads to hate. Second, government indifference. Presidents set up commissions to fix the problem, but their reports, they just sat in drawers labeled forgetting. The government knew about the injustice and did nothing. Let me ask you, how would you feel if someone ignored a problem that hurt your family? That's how natives felt. Now, the most important question, why does this article matter for our study of American history? Slide 5 says it all. First, it fills a gap. Before this article, history classes only talked about white settlers' adventures. They never told natives' side. Second, it makes us rethink freedom. America says liberty for all, but Jackson showed that wasn't true for natives. And third, it changed the future. This article inspired later movements like the 1960s Native Rights Movement and today's fights to protect tribal lands. It's not just an old article, it's a starting point for making things right. Let's wrap up with slide 6. What did we learn? Helen Hunt Jackson used her writing this article to expose injustice. That injustice came from fear and government neglect. And this article helps us see a more honest American history. Now, I have a question for you. If you could talk to Jackson, what would you ask her? Would you ask if she thought her article would still matter today? Or if she's proud of the change it started? This article isn't just about the past, it's about us. It reminds us that history isn't just good stories, it's about learning from mistakes. And if we learn from this mistake, we can make sure no one is treated this way again. Thank you for joining today's lesson.